What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today was another very interesting day. We had the SPX index break all-time highs. Even QQQ for big tech broke 400, which was something that was extremely painful to get through. But we had some very interesting movement today. We did have a small push in the beginning of the day. Then your e-commerce essentially came crashing down. Even Tesla tried to pop today and got pulled back. Google tried to pop, got pulled back. Facebook had a monster day today. Crypto in itself had a monster day today. Even the chips played a huge part going into Q4 earnings. We are in the rally, the Santa Claus rally, and we are ready to rock and roll. There is a pullback going on, so that's something you have to remember. We've had massive amounts of running. Actually wouldn't be surprised if the SPX did pull back overnight to re-tag previous all-time highs and then continue up. Like I've stated many times before, it is always good for this to come back and retest before continuing on. We don't want this to go too parabolic. Otherwise, that will come actually crashing down quite vigorously. So we do want to make sure that does retest old resistance before continuing forward. So tomorrow I'm actually looking for some sort of pullback. Big tech, like I said, most of it has been struggling midday. Some of it actually started selling off pretty well. Like I said, especially the e-commerce space has really been hurting. So it's kind of just watching to see what's been lagging behind and going from that point. Tesla has, again, made some monster moves, needs to cool off a bit. So, but being said, moving forward, there's a lot of different restrictions coming up in New York, essentially talking about the new variant. I don't think that is concerning. The market doesn't really care about that. It's more so what is going to happen with the rate raises and trying to gauge when that's going to happen. So that is pretty much where we're at, is trying to determine when that rate raise will be. But we are in the Santa Claus rally. As far as the rate raises and stuff, like I said, I'm looking more towards March for that time frame around there to see what happens at that point. So you're starting to see your Bitcoin and everything fly up quite heavily. Actually, this morning it was running. Now it's starting to sell off pretty heavy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Bitcoin here. It is retesting the 20 on the daily and getting rejected. So again, first test that's expected. Want to see if it can come down and hold essentially that 50K mark and then bounce back from there to try to break back over that 20 and then hold is what we're trying to do. Again, there's a lot of resistance overhead, so you're going to get a lot of chop trying to get this thing to push back up. Like I just stated, we want a retest of old resistance, which is essentially around that 49K mark, and then pop from there back up is what we're looking for on Bitcoin. Again, I think that will provide a good possible opportunity for last minute dip buyers going forward. Again, this is not financial advice. This is purely technicals going off of here and what normally occurs during these particular pullbacks like this. So again, not everything is 100%. If you are in the stock market, you know very well that nothing is 100%. Time is your best ally in the stock market. So being said, we want to keep that in mind moving forward. And I don't really have, I've been talking about FANG and stuff as far as a watch list, but even if you look at Tesla, Tesla's already ran pretty hard a couple days. Now I know it's Tesla, and even the Tesla of old would run nonstop. I think right now it's kind of just tired. It's looking to come back and test support. So I'm kind of looking around that 1K mark for first daily support retest. I think once we hit that, it will accelerate Tesla and continue to push up. These little pullbacks are expected. It's nothing crazy or out of hand. Google is another really interesting one. Again, everything, a lot of different charts look this way. They're all coming into the trend line. And so we're going to get rejected, especially the first attempt here. Yes, this is the first initial or the third initial attempt here. So we want at least to pull back probably to the 2900 mark and then continue and get that final push to break through that trend is kind of what I'm looking at for big tech. Like I said, a lot of big tech is that way. Even shop here, it did nothing but sell off. E-commerce did nothing but pretty much sell off today. Still kind of looking for a retest around that 1375 mark and hopefully bounce at that point and continue up. You want the break and the retest is what we're looking at here, especially on the daily. Amazon, same exact thing, break, retest. A lot of big tech is doing this. Again, these are going to be your leaders going into the rally, especially because they've been beaten down. These big names have been beaten down for so long. We're starting to see that back in Apple. Apple, again, had a pretty monstrous day here today. Considering the rest of the market, it did chop, but it slowly melted up, essentially carrying it. Facebook, monster day today. Again, you're looking for breaks and retests. Another break, looking for a retest. I wouldn't actually be surprised if there was a rotation in e-commerce tomorrow, and then start having Facebook sell off for a retest, possibly. Roblox had a good day. So it was kind of off because not one particular industry was essentially pushing everything today. It was kind of just your main leaders. There was leaders in tech. There was some leaders in, I believe, BA and banks actually did very well today as well. Yeah, see, everything was pushing up today. So there was no specific industry that was really leading today. It's good to see if you're going into any kind of major rally, it's good to see value and big tech pushing together, because that means it's very bullish in a sense, not just again very not one-sided, which can lead to a lot of talk about bubbles, big tech bubble and stuff like that. So it's good to see value pick up and push along with big tech. Some of the big tech, again, some of the techs that have been running really hot are starting to cool off a little bit. You want that so that way it can build steam for the next push. So that's what we're kind of looking for there. There's a couple of ones I'm kind of looking at tomorrow. I know Moderna is interesting me again. It is starting to get back in this buy spot because it's consolidating. As soon as it starts consolidating like this, it's when I like to pick it up, because then it's essentially waiting for its next push up. The thing about Moderna, though, it's been playing this. I mean, the range here is very good. It's good for a couple day swing. So you start getting consolidation. You pick it up here, and then you get that nice push up. Get a retest of the 200 on the daily. Essentially, ride this up with a tight stop. Tag out, and then try to get it to push further. But we'll see. As far as right now, it's really stuck in between the monthlies, I believe, too. I do have the monthlies marked off here. The original monthly. So we did get an initial bounce off the monthly. It is coming back down into the monthly. I don't know why I have this one on here. But it's coming back down to the monthly. So we want to really watch this one. But I think the earnings in itself are going to be absolutely absurd. The numbers that are going to come out of here coming into earnings. So you're starting to look for those earning run-ups and stuff. And so when you start seeing this nice curve here and holding essentially that 243 mark, as long as it continues to hold that 243 mark is what we're looking at to continue forward. Again, chips had a monster day. I don't like chasing after these monster moves have been made because it's been gone 1, 2, 3, 4 days, monster move up. You may be lucky if it has another day, but you're going to see another pullback. And so that's why I don't typically like chasing these ones that have already started running. As you can see here, it based a couple different times. It based for 2 days, solid around this 745 mark. And then it had that nice push up. I tried to capture it a couple different times here. I did miss that one though. But being said, coin is another really good one. Again, I wanted to come back down, start retesting old support. I kind of wanted to hold this 269 mark and see what it does from there. On the daily for coin, I really do like the wedge break. So this is what I'm kind of looking at. We do want it over that 282 mark. Again, like I was showing with Bitcoin, it does follow Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now, we want the retest on Bitcoin, and then we want it to explode up. And so right now we're looking for a retest on coin. If we can come back down to that 271, do a retest and hold. I really like this going forward because if crypto starts pushing, coin can really start to get parabolic. And we've seen these parabolic moves when coin starts ripping. And what we're seeing back here, I think, is what we're getting ready to see here again. But you do have a nice points of interest. Essentially, you have this pivot in here at the 270 mark to the 283 mark. So you definitely don't want it to break below that, and you definitely want to keep a tight stop if you did get in it and it does hit this 281 mark. You would want it to break or exit there and then re-enter on the break and retest and hold to continue up. So I really do like coin moving forward. UPST is another big one I've really been watching. We're getting a lot of these wedge breaks. Like I said, the big techs is getting slammed down by the trend line, and then you get some of these other ones that have been beaten down that are starting to break wedges that are looking really good, like UPST. It's been really beaten down here at the 160 mark. I did miss this. I should actually try to swing this last week because it did already start making a parabolic move. Definitely want this to hold, essentially this 157 mark. Tomorrow, if it is holding this, I will attempt to get in this as well because I really do like that one moving forward. Snap is one. I'm questioning Snap because of the changes that were made by Apple, and it doesn't seem like Snap really has an answer, and that's why it hasn't bounced back because of their ad revenue has been hit, and they didn't really have an answer when they were confronted about this, and so they have to do a lot of retooling. So I don't know how quick Snap is going to bounce back, but on a daily, it's been kind of moving, playing backup quarterback for Facebook. And so Facebook, with its monster runs, it likes to follow behind. And so right now it's holding the 20 right now, that 48.61 mark. If we can hold that tomorrow, I think we can get a nice push up to the 54 mark. Could be a possibility. So that might be something I want to look at tomorrow. SQ also, I know they rebranded and everything, and they've had a lot of different issues. And I think they're actually going full crypto now. They're basing very nicely down here at the 165 mark. So essentially, as it holds at 165 mark, I want to see where this goes as well. I want to say, as of right now, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't want to put too much out there. I think when you're going out there on a daily basis, you want to only have like 2 or 3 tickers you're really looking at, that you're really looking, that you have strong conviction in the setup. Momentum is good if it's 1 or 2 days, but if you start looking at stocks that have had momentum for 4 or 5 days, you're really pushing the limit, and you're at that point asking to essentially get wrecked at that point. If you're trying to chase something at 4 or 5 days, you want that initial move is good to see that the momentum is moved in, the volume is moved in. After that point, you go a day or two, and then you let it ride, or you can continue to push it. You can continue to accelerate it if you've had already made profits off of it. Cycling new contracts in, if that's what you're doing with options, or you're playing shares and you're offloading some shares on the way up. Just trying to keep some runner contracts, or trying to keep some additional shares, just trying to squeak out the little bit that you can, is the best way to play it. But to go in, 4 or 5 days later with a fresh new position, you're definitely asking to get wrecked at that point. So, being said, that's pretty much what I've got. I'm watching Fang and seeing what turns tomorrow. And then again, I'm watching those other couple random ones like Coin, UPST, Moderna. Airbnb is also another one I want to keep an eye on because it's in an interesting spot. If I can find it here. Airbnb is another interesting spot, another wedge break, like I was talking about. There's some of these are like these really good companies that are breaking wedges, your UPST, your Airbnbs. But my only concern with Airbnb and some why I didn't really want to bring it up was because of the variant discussion that is still going on right now. And if they start locking down, normally again any of your entertainment or your hotels, right, or any of that um, particular industry gets hit dramatically very quickly, and it's the first to get hit. And so, even though they do become numb to some of this information, again, if there's a risk of lockdown, I know we've even said there wouldn't be in the U.S. That they can still take a hit. It could be an intraday hit, just so you're aware. And so it's kind of harder to play options on something like that. That essentially that volatility spike can essentially demolish your option contracts on some of these. That's why some of these are better to play with equity than options. It just really depends on the industry that it's in and what's the current events are. And so those are things to keep in mind. But if you have made it this far, I know this video is really long. Just trying to give insight on what's going on. There's a rotation going on, and the rally is true. The index is showing the rally is here, very much so. And so it's just waiting for some of these to rotate and get going, especially if you play a lot of the same stocks that I do, like I've talked about. They are in the middle of a rotation, so some of them are pumping harder than others. So watch your guiding leads, like your Apples and your Facebooks. When they start dying out, you're going to see that rotation back into your Teslas, back into Amazon, back into Shop. And so those are where to look. Again, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.